control. Breach in 5, 4, 3.
What's up, guys? I'm Uncle Freedom, coming to you on another glorious and well-deserved day off. And today we're going to take our first steps off into that Minutemen Layout and Loadout series. And we're going to talk about your pistol belt, your battle belt, your war belt, whatever you want to call it, your line one. So guys, if that's fun and interesting to you, you've been waiting on this to start, go ahead, like, subscribe, tell a friend. If you're looking to get in touch with me, it's at Uncle Freedom 213 on Facebook or Instagram, or Uncle Freedom 213 at outlook.com. If you're looking to support the channel, I'll leave a link down below in the description that takes you to my Linktree account. All of the affiliates of the channel will be there. People like Dark Angel Medical, Gun Mag Warehouse, 100 Concepts, Sportsman's Guide. Go over, check those guys out if you're going to do it anyway, and use that link. Every little bit helps the channel. So here we go. I've had a lot of people get excited about this. I apologize if my voice does weird stuff. Weather is killing us here. We had a blizzard. We're still having a blizzard right now. So your battle belt, what is it? Your battle belt is the system that you are putting on around your waist that is going to allow you to carry essential gear that supports your secondary weapon, your primary reload for your rifle, your first line medical gear, as well as auxiliary stuff like a dump pouch, multi-tool, flashlight. What is it not, though? It is not Batman's utility belt. It is also not a jungle rig. Those are very different things used for very different theories. It's not a battle belt. Jungle rigs are awesome, but they are not the same thing. They're a sustainment loadout. This is not a sustainment loadout. Typically with a battle belt, you will not see suspenders used, though it can be done, but typically it's not something you see on an actual battle belt. So what it should be is a very streamlined support system for carrying your secondary weapon system or your backup, as well as your reloads. But it should more than anything be comfortable, stable. That's the big one. Guys in the back, stable. And it should not prevent you from doing normal, everyday, mundane tasks. Not everything is a gunfight. You got to walk there, you got to walk back. Sometimes you may have to sit and wait, sit in a car. These are all things you have to think about in relation to that belt because it's on your body. So when we start talking about belt, there's a couple of different options that we talk about. Do we talk about a one-piece belt or a two-piece belt? Now, here's the problem. Here's the thing. They both have really distinct advantages and disadvantages. So two pieces versus one piece, one of the biggest ones that stands out for a two-piece belt is because of the way it's mated through the loops on your belt, your pants. It is incredibly stable. It doesn't move and slosh around. It doesn't ride up. It doesn't fall down, because in order for that to happen, you have to lose your pants. But it is also not conducive where a one-piece belt works well, which is if it's cold outside and I'm wearing something like this, I can throw a one-piece belt on over this jacket and it's not going to be that big of an issue. Whereas if you're running a two-piece belt, you will tuck all of your clothing in to make the belt made up with the actual Velcro surface. So that's where they really differentiate each other. You'll hear people talk about, oh, but one-piece belts are padded. They are. The reason they're padded is because they're not. The padding is there to help you make it tighter so that it doesn't move. Is it more comfortable? Yeah, I have noticed that padded belts can be more comfortable, but a well set up, well thought out, stable two-piece belt is more comfortable than any one-piece belt I've ever ran. So now that we've looked at those two things, the next thing you got to look at when we look at a belt is, how do we want that belt to be? Do we want that belt to be MOLLE? I don't personally run belts that aren't MOLLE. I just don't. But when we look at a MOLLE belt, you now have multiple options. You have webbing and you have like squadron. So if we look at kind of an old school, got to dig through crap to find it here, like a webbing design. So you'll see on this guy here, this is webbing. This is a Safe Life Defense MOLLE duty belt. I ran this belt for years. It's really nice, but this webbing presents an issue sometimes, and you can see here, actually on this one, how it's stretched out. That's the pitfall to webbing. Webbing is super tough. Like I said, over 2 years, this belt got worn for like 50 plus hours a week. But that becomes an issue. They can stretch, your stuff will move around. Whereas you start looking at stuff that has a squadron styled material on it, which is this stuff, which this is actually a laminate Cordura. So what you end up with is like a 1000D laminated to a 500D. So you have a 1500 denier Cordura material that's laminate that is incredibly tough. It doesn't stretch, it doesn't work loose, it doesn't give. It's very stable when you mount your pouches to it, which is the reasons I like it. I love, like, if I have to choose, I'm going to choose the squadron material like 9 times out of 10 for my belt systems. And even something like this guy, like this belt system here, you see I've just got your standard Molly. Like I said, same issues apply to this with this Molly, is that it can be less stable with your stuff mounted to it than it would be if you had a squadron. So on to the next part of this, and this is something that you really need to pay attention to, and that is that good belts are never going to be cheap. They're never going to be inexpensive for the most part. You may get a deal, but for the most part, a really good, solid, high-quality belt is not going to be had for $50. It's not going to happen. And the reason you don't want to skimp on this, and I say this when it comes to plate carriers, we'll touch it again in chest rigs, we'll touch it in holsters, that is cheap stuff and stuff that is really cheaply made that you're getting to fill the job right now. If you had just saved a little longer, you could have actually gotten into something that would have lasted you. You're going to end up spending more money replacing this $50 item 5 or 6 times before you finally suck it up and spend the money to buy a good one. I've done it. Everybody in the gear world's done it. But really good belts are not going to be inexpensive. They're going to cost you money. You need to really be looking at this like your base belt alone is probably going to cost you in the nature of $150+. That's just the belt. That's on the low end. There are some, I'll show you one that's actually lower than that. It's about $100 to get started. But you're going to spend close to $200 to get the belt, and then you have to build the belt out with all of your stuff. So the next part of your belt system that we're going to look at is your pouches matter. And more importantly than your pouches matter, how you mount them matters. So you have a bunch of options for mounting stuff. You have like one wrap, which is just, you know, the Velcro stuff. You have malice clips. You have the Molly sticks from Blackhawk. You've got the sewn in Molly compatible stuff. There are tons of options. And it all matters. Personally, for me, I am a huge fan of the malice clips. I love these malice clips. These are made by Tactical Tailor. They're awesome. The HSGI clips, also really good. They actually self-lock onto their self. That is really, really nice. And then the last thing that we're going to look at when we start talking about our belts, and this is probably one of the most underappreciated and overlooked features that you should be looking at when we get ready to build this belt. And that is, how easy is it to adjust? We've all like eaten too much food and had to like let the belt out a notch. We've also all dieted or gone to the field and lost weight and your stuff fits a little weird. Everybody's done it. Your belt stability is directly related to how well it fits your hips. So being able to actually adjust that belt out longer or shorter is going to have a huge impact. And that is a place where this belt from Safe Life just crashes and burns. So the Safe Life belt runs Cobra buckle, but the webbing that this thing is made out of is super rigid and stiff, which means running it through this Cobra buckle to adjust this thing is a royal pain in the ass. Like, it is so hard to adjust this belt that most of the time you just don't. Like, you get it good enough and call it good, and then it ends up washing or doing something else. But that's mainly because, take that off, this stuff is so hard to adjust. It is unreal hard to adjust this. I mean, you hear how hard that comes back. Does that make it a bad belt? No, this is a really stable belt, but this sucks so bad. Versus if we compare that to something like the Blue Alpha Battle Belt Light. So this is a two-piece belt, and I have adjustment on either side of this guy to bring this in or expand it, letting me fit it to myself if I have to, for some reason, put it on, like say I've tucked my jacket and everything into my pants, right? Well, now my waist is a little bigger. Being able to quickly adjust this lets me get back on the game really, really quickly. But that is a really overlooked thing and underappreciated. Ease of adjustment for your belt is super important. And if you don't think it is, you've not run belts long enough. I'll tell you like it is. So when we start looking at belt setups itself, you're going to have to think about things that are relatively kind of important for you to have. Like we discussed kind of the layout for the belt already, which is carries your secondary weapon system, carries your primary magazines for your secondary weapon system, carries your speed reload for your primary weapon system, carries an auxiliary pouch of some kind, not for everybody, but we'll go through my belts in just a second, a medical, your first line medical gear for your body, the ability to carry administrative things like a multi-tool and a flashlight, and then finally, like maybe auxiliary stuff like handcuffs, your gloves, or whatever. So when we look at that, there's a bunch of different companies that make this stuff, but you can't really cheap out on things. But there are a few places that you can save some money. Say for your rifle mag pouch. This is an Eagle Industries like USMC Fast Mag. It's got a liner on the inside, good retention, slides out. This would make a decent speed reload pouch. Is that fact that I think it's actually what it's called? Is the speed? Yeah, it's called the speed reload. Pick these up from Sportsman's Guide, again, an affiliate of the channel. But for most of the time, for me, and we're going to look at one of my primary rigs. So this is the Blue Alpha Gear Battle Belt Light, 1.75 inch. I adore this belt. I have Squadron Molly on the outside. I have Tigris liner on the inside. So this belt is very stiff, but very, very lightweight. Metal Cobra buckle, carabiner on the front that holds my gloves. And then we get into what the belt is built for. So for me, I have two HSG, or I have a S-Tac 2-pistol gap. I adore the S-Tac. I also have the S-Tac short single rifle. You will notice this on almost all of my belts. This is what's actually I think pretty much every belt has this setup on there. This allows me a fast speed reload for my rifle and instant fast reloads for my handgun to go along with my secondary weapon system, which I use the Safariland UBL mid drop with the QLS fork system, which lets me take holsters on and off as I need to. So for example, if I was going to run this holster, which is for 17 or a 22 with a red dot, boom, holsters on there. I run a TRex arms thigh strap on here. And then behind that pistol, I run administrative pouches. Now, these actually attach with the adaptive belt mount from HSGI. These are HSGI double pistol tacos. And the reason they're here is because I can do things like put a flashlight in this belt. Flashlights are ultra important. If you don't think they are, you need to take a low light class. Medical gear on this guy is a very slim med kit. This is the Coyote Tactical Solutions Burrito. Cat tourniquet on the bottom. And then I have an Aloxac in here that has my full blowout kit built into it. I literally just pull this out as a whole and all my kit's there. Hyphen vents, compressed gauze, ARS needle. It's all right there in a very compact, very usable system. I like this pouch. I've been running this Coyote Burrito, I think, for going on 6 years. And then behind that, so this sits 6 o'clock on me. Next to that, I have a dump pouch. I like dump pouches. They're great for doing things like dumping this in there, or your pen, or stuff you picked up, or your empty mags. Whatever the case is, dump pouches are awesome for that. I use them even as a cop. Like when I arrest people, I put their stuff in a dump pouch. This is an ATS Tactical dump pouch. Excellent, well-made dump pouch. Not as deep as some of the other ones, but I like it a lot. Molly's on, built-in Molly stuff. The inner belt from Blue Alpha is their low-profile, excellent belt. So this is a standard setup for me. This is actually my call out belt for my job. This is how I run it. I like this belt. It's super lightweight and ultra, ultra, ultra comfortable. But if we look at like a one-piece belt option, we can look at this. Oh, so that Blue Alpha belt, we're looking at about $150 for that belt. Then we start talking about building your stuff out. Personally, for me, when it comes to mag pouches, you can do like the speed reload stuff, military surplus, but honestly, Tactical Tailor, HSGI, S-Tac. I trust S-Tac so much. Dump pouches, ATS, Tactical Tailor, and Flatline Fiber Co. I don't like Blue Force Gear stuff because I've torn up a lot of it. Medical gears, I love Lids the Creed, Dark Angel Medicals, lumbar pack, the HSGI Reflex, Coyote Burrito, which you saw in there, and the Flatline Fiber Pimp. And then for belts, there's a ton of options for belts, but the ones that I have run and that I trusted and I would spend my money on again, the Blue Alpha, because I have multiple of them now because they're so good. TRex arms, which we're going to take a look at. The HSGI belt system itself, also going to look at that. The ATS belt, which is the lowest priced option to get you in the door with a actual good quality USA made battle belt. And then like the Ronin Senshi. Ronin's going to set you back about $190. The Safe Life belt is pretty good, especially if you're on a budget, because it's $130 with your inner belt. It's a very well-made belt. Blue Alpha is about $150. Your ATS is only going to set you back about $90. And then TRex. So I bought this belt. This is the TRex Orion belt. So on this guy, you'll notice here again, we've got Tactical Tailor, S-Tac and S-Tac, right? Happy Mags for pistols and rifle. Tactical Tailor Fight Light Dump. HSGI Reflex IFAK. This is a really, really awesome IFAK design. It's got an internal sleeve and then a pouch I can pull out of either side. Tactical Tailor mag pouches back here. These actually have a magnet on them, but I find it great for multi-tool and my flashlight. Multi-tool, and this guy's a Gerber Center Drive M4. And then I run the same UBL mid-ride with QLS system, and then this is one for a Glock 19 or Glock 23 with a dot. Now, this is all squadron material out here. So I have this laminate stuff here, training bundle, the Kim lights, ignore the pink thing. But the inner belt you actually buy from them for the Orion is actually, it's not good. I like a lot of TRex stuff. I don't like that belt. It is very flimsy, and your holster actually starts rocking and riding, which is kind of a no-go for me. So what I did is I upgraded my belt. This is the HSGI Riggers belt. You can see I've got the D-ring on here. I have full Cobra buckle on this guy. But this belt is incredibly rigid. It is a pain in the ass to adjust, though. You will notice this comes through behind this and comes back. This is actually where my belt Velcros in, is behind my holster. But this is a modification I had to make, which goes to my next part, which is never really be afraid to mix and match brands. If you really like TRex Arms' outer belt, but you hate their inner belt, fine, use a different inner belt. A lot of things like I did not care for the Ronin's inner belt, so I wore a Blue Alpha inner belt. Don't be afraid to change your stuff up based on kind of what you want to see and how it feels. Because after all, I don't have to wear your stuff. You don't have to wear mine. So setting your stuff up directly to mimic because the guy on the internet told you it was cool is dumb. I'm not going to tell you it's cool. I'm going to tell you I trust it, I like it, and then you can go make your own decisions. But I'll try to help you make the best informed decision that I can. Oh, I also have a Blue Force dangler on here for a tourniquet. So this is my one-piece belt. You can see here with the one-piece belt, kind of the things we were talking about with it is I have that rubber on the inside, makes it a little more grippy. I can attach this to my belt via this one wrap here. I don't ever do that. But this belt itself, I will be honest, this is an incredibly stable, very comfortable platform, and it is probably easily one of my more favorite belts now that I've replaced the inner belt, the original belt for it, with the HSGI belt. So then if we look at the least expensive option to get you into an actual quality US made battle belt system. That is going to be the ATS Tactical battle belt. It's called the War Belt. So this belt itself, this outer shell you see, is $55. That's right. The inside of this guy is Velcro lined here, and it goes to a Velcro lined, a loop lined inner belt. Now this inner belt seems really flimsy, but once you get away from the adjustment, which is very easy to adjust because of how it's made, and it actually Velcros down to itself inside of the belt, once you get away from that, this is actually a double layered belt and pretty stiff. So with everything on, this belt is pretty rigid. Now I can run suspenders if I wanted to, allowing me to use this more as a jungle kit and make it heavier. Because I have 3 rows of molly up and down, technically I have 2 with a gap, but it allows me some options when I go to build this guy out. So this belt is also a call out rig for me, though I've kind of cannibalized it and I'm going different ways. But on this one, I have a blue Force Gears cuff pouch, carabiner for gloves, S-Tac Kiwis in Ranger Green, double pistol gap, rifle short. One of my favorite dump pouches here, this is the Flatline Fiber Co. dump pouch that mounts underneath my rifle mag, so it clears up some space. Medical kit on this guy is the Live the Creed Responder IFAK, so cat tourniquet here on the bottom. Easily pop this open and I can rip this guy out, and you can see there I've got quick clot, everything I would need, but this comes out in a tray and lets me, you know, stop the bleed, if you will. And then this guy just sits into here, Velcros down. Really cool system. I like this, and you can see how low profile this is. I've got some double pistol here for the same deal, and then the UBL mid-ride. This is a super comfortable belt. Like, this thing is all awesome. It's very comfortable. It's very stable, believe it or not. It is not as stable as something that's going to have a rubber lining on the inside, but it is very comfortable, and I have not noticed an issue with it. But some of the bigger things, and then like gloves. I am of the firm belief that you should attach gloves to your stuff. My personal favorite, these are my babies. These are my favorite gloves. These are the Outdoor Research Suppressor Glove. So I have leather palms, leather padded knuckles, Nomex on the back for flame resistance, gusseted and double layered leather where I need it for gripping a rifle, and a huge pull tab. And the coolest part of these gloves is these are USA made gloves. They are expensive. Not going to pull any punches. Those are like $130 a pair, but they are freaking awesome. So after you've set up your belt and you've designed what it is that you want your belt to do and what you're going to carry and what's important to you, the most important thing you're going to do in the back, pay attention, wear your belt during normal, everyday household chores. You are going to hear this come up numerous times as I talk about this Minutemen Loadout series. Because this series is not about just telling you about gear. It is giving you an actual guy that's used this stuff professionally for going on 20 years as perspective of how to make sure things work. It is very important that you put your gear on and go to the range and work in it, train in it, run in it, do your stuff in that gear. It is important because it is the only way you will find out you don't like where your mag pouch is. The day you find out you can't reload efficiently does not need to be the day somebody's shooting at you. Maybe you realize that you don't need it this way. You would rather have it turned around because it facilitates an easier reload for you. Maybe you would rather have 2 rifle mags there. Maybe you realize you would rather have an extra pistol mag. Maybe all your weight's on the wrong damn side and it's causing an imbalance in your hips and causing you pain. You will only know these things if you go out and run them. But more than going to the range and training and LARPing with your buddies, just like the rest of us do, again, if you're not in a real gunfight, it's all LARPing. If you are not wearing your gear in normal everyday tasks around your house, that will expose more things that need to be fixed about your gear than you have ever dreamed possible. You will learn things like your IFAK is too thick because you're wearing it while sitting on the couch watching TV and it's starting to hurt your back. Maybe you notice that when you walk through a doorway, you bash into crap constantly because you're too wide framed and you've got things sticking out of your belt. The only way for you to learn this is to wear it for everyday mundane tasks. Wear it while you do laundry. Wear it while you mow the yard. Yeah, who cares if your neighbors look at you weird? Wear it while you shovel snow. Wear it while you rake leaves. Wear it while you play with your dogs, while you watch TV. If you're just driving somewhere and you're not really going to do anything, wear it while you drive. You will learn some shortcomings to the gear setup when you drive. You will also find damage to your stuff as you drive around because of your car. An excellent example is this. This is a duty handgun for me. Same Safariland, nub mod on here, QLS system. You will look at this mag extension and this, they are beat to crap. You know why they're beat to crap? They're beat to crap because they bounce into my center console for 10 hours a day. But the only way you'll ever learn this stuff is to go out and run it. Wear it in your normal daily life and find its limitations. Modify things as you have to. Never be afraid to modify your gear. And then put it back to use until you find what works ideally for you. Again, nobody cares if anybody else likes it. If it's stupid and it works for you, it is not stupid, and it works most importantly for the guy wearing it. Don't fall into this trap of chasing the Joneses. It's one of the reasons I think I became popular is because I don't care how you feel about what I run because you don't have to run it. I do. So I'm going to give you the best advice I know how. And this is one of those things that I wish someone would have told me. Wear your kit in normal everyday tasks because it will expose more things to you that are wrong with the fitment than anything else you're ever going to do. Wearing it for 2 hours on the range while you run around and shoot and your adrenaline's up and you're having a great time is not the same thing as folding laundry, doing dishes, mowing your yard, and trying to watch TV with a giant rock in the middle of your back because your IFAC's too big. You will learn things that don't work wearing it in everyday life. So guys, this is installment 1. Battle belts, pistol belts, war belts, whatever you're going to call them for the Minutemen series. My ideal Minutemen loadout belt. For a 2-piece belt, it is 100% my TRex Arms Orion belt. I adore this outer belt sleeve with the HSGI Riggers belt on the inside for stability and stiffness. S-Tac for all things mag pouches for me. Tactical Tailor, Flatline Fiber Co., and ATS for my dump pouches. Safariland UBL, though, the True North is amazing. Always a QLS system, always a double pistol mag for Leatherman and a flashlight, and always a very robust IFAC. And if we look at my 2-piece belt option, without a doubt, it is my Blue Alpha Gears Battle Belt Light. Again, the same S-Tac pouches, ATS dump, Coyote Tactical Burrito, double pistol mag from HSGI, Safariland UBL with, again, the QLS system. That is my ideal setup. You will notice that both of those belts are almost identical. They're just for different clothing. They're just different enough that I can wear them in different environments. But that is my choice for my battle belt. If tomorrow the numbers were up and it was time for us to go do Minutemen stuff, that's what I'm wearing. So guys, hopefully you found this informative and it taught you something. If you have questions or you need advice, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you any way I can. So again, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Until next time, I'll see you later.